So that's it for me with Fallout 76's beta. I will be playing it this coming Thursday, but I'm not going to be live streaming that because I have a number of videos set up and I'm not even going to be really playing it. I'm going to be showing off certain things to film with the video later. We got that 6-day gap, so I have to get some content recorded. So in this video, what I'm largely going to do is give my kind of conclusive opinions and thoughts on the beta as a whole. I did this towards the end of the Xbox One beta, right before we got the PC beta, but now after playing that, it definitely has changed some things. A number of other issues have come up, and I think the PC version of Fallout 76 is by far the one in the worst state. So in this video, what I want to do is actually give some of these final impressions, but then after that actually show you some of my kind of last highlights, some of the coolest things I did on my final hours playing the beta in a traditional manner, not just to film videos. One thing that really stands out to me is I just don't see how Bethesda has enough time to fix the plethora of problems that exist presently. We just got a patch for yesterday's beta session that certainly made the game more playable. It fixed a number of issues for a number of people, but even with that patch, a bunch of new issues were actually created. There's now a glitch where you can't just play holotapes. If you click the play button after you see it in the world, you'll just get static noises, and in reality, you have to go into your inventory to play it. I also, for some reason, couldn't pick up nuke codes anymore. I don't know what the deal with that one was, but we also found out that I guess nuke codes have an expiration date. Many people very unhappily learned as they logged in yesterday that all of their nuke codes expired. This is kind of odd also because it happened to so many people at exactly the same time, almost as if it's running on the real world clock, not just when the servers were up. So even though time was passing and we weren't playing, our new codes were still ticking away. So now on the other side of things, Bethesda definitely has some time to iron out some of these issues. The problem is it definitely doesn't seem like on release we'll have some of those fundamental features we're hoping for. Right now, the game is without a doubt playable, it's just not playable without bugs, and based on the past 2 patches we got during the beta, and the time between the last beta session and the actual launch of the game, I would be very surprised if they actually managed to get everything fixed. And even if they do get everything fixed, it certainly doesn't seem like we're going to have some of those fundamental features, especially on PC, that a ton of people are asking for. Things like push-to-talk and being able to change your FOV. It certainly feels like over the past few days, bugs have been a major concern for a lot of users because they just didn't get fixed as quickly as we all thought they would. Initially, I wrote off a lot of the people that did say, oh, the beta's too late, they're not going to have time to fix everything, but now it seems like they may have actually been right. Overall though, I think I enjoyed my experience with Fallout 76 throughout this beta. I really like the structure of the beta, how we'd only get a few hours each day. I know a lot of people probably dislike that aspect of it, but I personally feel like if they would have just given it to us all at once, it wouldn't have felt nearly as special. And for me at least, as I played more and more of this game, I realized it probably isn't for me. I don't think it's going to be one of those games that 3 months down the road I'm playing off camera just because I'm having fun with it. Although the exploration and kind of discovering some of the new things brought to the table here is fun at first, I quickly realized after going from cool location to cool location that there wasn't much going on. Like for example, even on this last day, I found this really cool location on one of the outer regions of the map. You find this giant elevated structure that has some super unique terrain. Even just making your way up this thing is kind of hard and scary, but at the same time super fun and exciting. What's going to be at the top? Well, after clearing out the remainder of the level 30 crickets, you make your way to the top and find one singular note. And really all the note says is how this guy that lived up here thought he would be undefeatable because, well, now he's super high in the air. It was time and time again that I would go to a location really excited and leave really disappointed because of how little content was actually there. I found this to be a shame because the locations that did have like a good amount of content really left me happy and pleased. I felt like I was really getting divulged and immersed in this game. For me, the questing structure simply feels inferior. A lot of the quests were really interesting and had a lot of promise to them, but I can't help but imagine I would have enjoyed them more if they had more human NPCs or dialogue options. I don't personally feel like this game is better by the removal of those features, and I do kind of feel like Fallout 76 at least somewhat suffers from an identity crisis. Like the game doesn't really know if it wants to be the online survival type of game or the co-op role-playing experience type of game. I feel like it has elements of each, both are imperfect, and I would almost rather they just committed to one and kind of perfected that playstyle. That's not to say they can't find a middle ground, I just don't think they've achieved it with the product they have right now. So all in all, I think Fallout 76 is a really fun game. With the actual release of it, I really want to dive into some of the stories and the quest lines that are made available to us. With my beta experience, I spent a lot more time exploring and trying to find new locations. Those are kind of my final beta impressions of this game. It's something that's fun, that I'm going to have fun with, but I personally feel like it definitely falls short of greatness. I'm sure a lot of you guys will disagree with me. Hopefully in the coming months, Bethesda will update, add new features, add new content, and I will feel totally wrong about my opinion right now. But either way, moving on to the highlight component of this video, just showing you some of the cool stuff I did and found during my time playing. So I was doing part of the Enclave quest, and no spoilers here, but as I was finishing up this quest, we saw this vertibot flying around. These are the guys that drop down those supply drops, and I don't know if this particular one was glitched, but it was just flying around in circles over us. I was streaming and had several people there, so I was like, hey, why don't we try and shoot it down? It actually took a really long time, but when we finally got it down, what we found was something particularly interesting. One, you actually can shoot these things down and you can claim the supply drop for yourself. After it falls, you're going to have to lockpick it, and this is going to engage in stealing, not just looting. I actually found a nuclear keycard here, which I don't know if that's rare. I don't know if shooting these things down gives you a higher chance of actually finding one of these. Basically, when you want to launch a nuke in this game, you need all of the nuke codes, but also a nuclear keycard. But then finally, one of the most interesting parts, after shooting this thing down, it gives you a 5-minute countdown and it actually explodes at the end. But outside of that, I actually did end up finding Vault 96. It's been my personal quest to actually find all the various vaults in this game, and this was the last one I had on my list. If you missed my video from yesterday, in that I actually talk about some of the hidden files that may suggest what role vaults will play in this game, but otherwise this vault definitely had the least content than all of the ones I have found thus far. With some of the other ones, at least you had a vault door control and a terminal to read. With this one, you had nothing. There's nothing to interact with, nothing to explore. Although something very interesting, this is outward facing. There's no load screen or thing to enter into. You just kind of stumble upon this side of a mountain and hey, there's a vault door. But one other thing I did that I figure I'll share the gameplay with, because it was honestly a lot of fun, was hunting down a wanted player. So I was kind of bored playing with some other people. This is done off stream because I was tired of streaming at this point. And I was just looking at the map and I saw that, hey, there's this wanted guy near a place I can fast travel to. So I fast travel over, try and snipe him down. Unfortunately, I don't take him out in one shot. So then the hunt is on, where I'm actually chasing this guy down while looking at my mini-map to figure out where he is presently. And I gotta say, this has probably been some of the most fun I've had in Fallout 76 PvPing thus far. In the end, I get him to super low HP, but then he ends up killing me. I then come back to easily take him down. But I really wish this game had more PvP components. I typically tune into the hunter versus hunted radio in every play session, and normally I'm left just waiting as the only one in that kind of lobby. I had this clip that I think just highlights how useless bobbleheads are in this game. Like, yeah, they're probably powerful in super niche situations, but most of the time, having 2 luck for 1 hour isn't like super valuable. I think I found 4 bobbleheads at this point, and I've never used any of them. I certainly hope that's something in the future that could be maybe improved or actually get some buffs to make them a little bit more powerful. Something that I only just found in my last session was this crashed bomb. So basically we just found this walking around and you could detonate it later on. It seemed like it was literally a bomb that dropped and just never went off. I want to share it because if I've never seen it, I imagine a lot of you guys also have never seen it, and it was a really cool thing to just kind of stumble upon. Going into the last beta day, an overall tip for some of you guys, when you store your junk in your stash, it isn't scrapping that junk. And when junk is in its not scrapped form, like in the actual item you picked up form, it might weigh more than in its raw form. So if you are having stash weight issues, what I would do is actually take all of the junk items out of the stash, actually go to a regular workbench, scrap all of your junk, and then put it back in. For me at least, it saved me about 20 pounds, which isn't honestly that much at all. But hey, who knows, maybe by the time this game actually releases, we will have a buff to the stash. So one thing I wanted to actually try out before I finished the beta was some of the exploits that people were talking about. One such one was farming loot. Basically, you could switch server sessions and you'll be in pretty much the exact same location, so would all the same loot kind of spawn around you? And yeah, it honestly kind of works that way. The easiest way I found to do this was literally just to have a bunch of friends that were on different servers. I've been adding a bunch of people as I've been streaming to play with them, so I would just join people at random, and then I would respawn on the other server in pretty much exactly the same place, and I could go loot the same building over and over again. I'm not sure this is an issue with the game such that Bethesda has to address it and actually fix it, but it certainly is a very easy way to get a lot of loot from a good spawn very quickly. And before people start complaining, I got black powder pistols because there are no modifications to the black powder pistol. I could scrap it over and over again and all I would get is the scrap. I wasn't actually getting any caps or new modifications. One of the few big creatures I've yet to find is actually a mega sloth, and well, I finally found one. I don't know if these are rare or if I've just been unlucky, but actually encountering it looks cool. It's actually one of the largest creatures I think in this game. Although, despite that, it doesn't really do much damage. It just kind of slowly comes at you, and I don't think hit any of the people in my squad as we were fighting it. I feel like especially some of these higher level enemies could definitely use some buffs in Fallout 76. We went to this workshop, and it had a bunch of fog crawlers defending it, and we had to kill those to actually get access to the workshop. I don't know what it was about this particular workshop and these fog crawlers, but I think I got better loot from this 10-minute exchange than any other even day of the beta. In the end, I ended up finding a Merv, I ended up finding a Gatling laser. The people in my squad found a dragon, and fortunately I never hit that fog crawler, so I couldn't loot it. The dragon is a special 4-barrel blunderbuss that is a unique weapon. And then finally I found a railway rifle. Maybe not as exciting as some of the other ones, but another pretty high and rare item. For me at least, I've been super scared to actually use my orbital drop beacon. That being an item you get for completing a certain quest, but if you're curious as to what it looks like, somebody in my squad did decide to use it. It definitely seems pretty powerful. It came out of nowhere and it without a doubt looks cool, but seeing it in action, I would be so paranoid I'm gonna miss when using this thing. It just seems like one of those things I would do on stream. And then one final thing that's a little spoilery, a lot of people have been asking about what the inside of the Greenbrier bunker looks like. I did some of the quests to get in here, so I'll show you what it looks like without giving away any spoilers. But if you obviously don't want to see the interior, then click off now. For me, this is probably one of the coolest locations thus far. I didn't realize it would actually end up being a vault. And I haven't even gotten access to the entire thing yet, but either way, it's one of those quests that I'm really happy I did fairly early on. I think it's going to end up paying dividends throughout the longer parts of this game. But yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. As always, again, I thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you found this informative. I should have a lot more Fallout 76 content coming in the coming days. But with that, I thank you for watching again, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.